Hi everyone, it's Daniel here and welcome to our monthly updates. Today we are very fortunate to have Doug from Squirrel to come and share a little bit about what he does in the company. So welcome Doug. Doug is in charge of our investors, so he takes care of all of our investors in Squirrel. So as you know, with Squirrel for the past 17 years, we're doing majority of the business. We are writing mortgages, we're providing mortgage service, and we also provide finance to support local like New Zealand builders and developers. And we also have a platform where we provide the investment platform basically for people to invest in. So a lot of people, they actually never heard of the Squirrel investment platform. So if you go to our website, you will see there are actually a few options available. And Doug, do you want to just talk us through about all the different options people who wants to invest, possibly get a better return than the bank? What are the options available?
Sure, Daniel, thanks. So essentially when you sign up with Squirrel and become an investor, the first thing we do is we create an on-call account for you. So this is literally where you transfer your funds initially from your bank account to your new Squirrel account. The money is available at short notice. You can transfer it back to yourself. Why would you do that? Because at the moment you can earn an interest rate of 2.25%, which is certainly better than many people are just earning on the cash which is knocking around in their bank accounts. So I think our overall philosophy is we think that we can help people make their money work harder. So once you've got your money, you've got yourself signed up with Squirrel, you've got your money in the on-call account, we then have a variety of investment options available to you. So if you think about the advice that you're potentially giving your clients who are borrowing, you might have people who are looking for a home loan. Typically, if you think about it as an interest-only loan, as a bridging loan, they might need money for a year or 3 years. So they have a property, they're going to have a registered first mortgage over that, and basically we could then provide the loan to them, and that would be provided by our investors. So for example, if an investor today was investing into a home loan, they would be earning a rate of 5.25%. So that's a floating rate, and that's before tax, but essentially that's what they'd be earning on that home loan. So comparatively speaking, you can see that you can earn a higher return. We also offer construction loans, so an investor could invest into a construction loan and they would earn a rate of 5.75%. From that loan, again, it is a variable rate and that's before tax. What would we be doing with those funds is that basically we would be advancing into a property developer who's in the process of either acquiring a property and wants to go through the consenting process before construction, or in fact they could be in construction. So as an investor into either of those loans, you've got the benefit of a registered first mortgage, you've got the benefit of Squirrel's reserve funds, and importantly the interest that you're earning is being paid into your Squirrel on-call account on a monthly basis. So you're generating an income that you can either use if you require the income, or you can simply choose to invest it into another loan. So those are what we call our term investments. The last option the client can do is they can invest into our managed fund, so it's the Squirrel Monthly Income Fund. So this is a managed fund. They would acquire units in the fund, having registered to become an investor in the fund, so they should read our PDS on the fund. But essentially the fund is investing into a blend of home loans and construction loans, and the target for the fund is to outperform a 12-month term deposit by more than 2%. So that's basically the idea, is to give you the best return we can do, but without locking you in. And a lot of people are using that, for example, to save up a deposit for a first home. It could be somebody who sold their property and potentially they are going, well, we haven't bought the new house yet. We're looking, what do we do with the $400,000 or $500,000 of equity that we have? Again, we think we can do better than just basically placing it, an overnight call at the bank. So these are the kinds of options that we have to give investors a better return and flexibility, whilst, as you said, supporting basically people into home ownership or home development.
A return of 5, 6 or 7% is actually a lot better than what the banks are currently doing, even for comparing the term deposit option with the bank, isn't it? 5, 6, 7%, it's pretty good. How easy is it to sign up, Doc? How long does it take?
Very easy. So literally you go onto the Squirrel website and you can click on to register, and it takes you about 5 minutes. Alternatively, what most people find convenient these days is there's an app for that. So download the Squirrel app. We can get you signed up and ready to go probably within 5 to 7 minutes. And then you'd make your initial deposit, just send $1 over to activate your account. So literally you could be up and going within half a day.
That's nice and easy, isn't it? What about Doug, for those investors, they are a bit more aggressive. They want to get the best return possible. Are there any options that's available through Squirrel platform?
For investors who are qualifying wholesale investors, we do have a range of investment funds available to them that we can't make available to the general public. So for where somebody qualifies as a wholesale investor, so we've got a range of wholesale funds that would provide them with returns potentially anywhere from sort of 6% through to 9%, and actually up to a new fund we've launched where we're targeting a return of 20%. But those, as I say, are only available to qualifying wholesale investors. And we'd be encouraging, obviously, people are required to not only sign up as a wholesale investor, but they would need to understand what the fund's terms and conditions are, and very importantly, what they're investing into to make sure it's appropriate for their requirements.
That's awesome. Like 20% return, that sounds too good to be true, isn't it? And with the 20%, of course, there are a few criteria to meet. Would there be any minimum threshold? How much? What would be the minimum?
So essentially, the fund's minimum is minimum of $1 million investment. So obviously, you need to be a qualifying wholesale investor, signed up for the fund, and basically agreed to the terms and conditions, and then basically making minimum investment of $1 million to the fund. And then the other side of that also is, given what the fund is doing, so the idea of the fund is to support development, residential property development. Those developments will take some time to progress from where they are, having the developer purchasing the land through to completion and the sale of the properties. So that could be taking anywhere from a year, 18 months, 2 or 3 years. And so the fund is, from that perspective, not liquid either. So you'd be investing for a minimum term of at least 3 years into the fund.
And Doug, for the past 10 years, Squirrel has been managing all these funds from the investors. For someone who's new to this, what sort of confidence can we provide to them in terms of the way we manage money in the past 10 years?
So I think the important thing is that we are a very experienced lender, and actually one has to be a responsible lender as well, from both the borrower's perspective and also our investor's perspective. You would do the sensible things. For example, do a full evaluation of who the borrower is, their credit history, and if we just sort of talk more specifically in borrowers in the development space, they are going to be somebody who has a background in development, so they understand what they're doing. They'll have an evidence track record of being a developer. And what are we trying to do? We're trying to establish the credibility of the developer and their ability to have a development which is going to be profitable. And because of profitable, then two things: it's going to allow them to repay their lenders and actually enable them to achieve a return on their equity. We would be looking to understand the feasibility of the project, the costings in the project, and obviously from Squirrel's perspective, again, we see a lot of projects, and so we have a very good feel for the various areas of the country and what is an appropriate building cost. What is the cost of land, what is the cost of construction, and ultimately ensuring that feasibility is actually going to stack up. As part of our due diligence, we'll be doing a full credit assessment of who the builder is, because they're again a very important provider in the mix. And so having gone through that due diligence process, you then got a solid loan agreement in place. It would be secured by a registered first mortgage over the property. That's important. And then we're going to then monitor the process. So as the borrower draws down on those funds, we're going to want to see evidence that in fact the concrete has been poured and that there's a certificate from the building inspector to confirm quality of the work and its past inspection, and then we would then be paying down for that drawdown, ultimately to protect the investors, to ensure that they're only investing in value which has been created by the developer. And so going through that process, of which we've done over 1,000 of these kinds of loans, we've really built up a good track record of assessing borrowers, but we also accept that things don't always work as perfectly as you'd like them to. So for every loan that we write, we reserve a portion into the reserve fund to provide protection to investors. So if a borrower falls into arrears or defaults on the loan possibly, and it is possible that a borrower will default, the reserve fund is there to provide additional protection to investors. So if you look at Squirrel's track record, to date, no investors have either missed an interest payment, nor has anybody lost any capital. So basically we've kept our investors whole, and that's been the job of the reserve funds, is to step in where there has been an issue, which has given Squirrel time to then manage the borrower out of the position they find themselves in. So that flexibility is really important, but from an investor's perspective, it gives you confidence that actually your money is being well managed and that there's actually a plan B as well.
That's awesome. Thanks for joining us, Doug. Good to have you here.
Well,
thank you.